business time at the 9:15 hour. And so in the afternoon here, we're going to transition into the ministry reports. And so that'll be, we actually have a little bit of a surprise for you, but we're going to have a mystery report given first, and then we'll have Zach Green for the youth, and then we'll have Pastor Bruce Lyman for international ministries, and then I'll conclude our time this morning. But we are in the process of catapulting Carrie Lyman out of here into service elsewhere. So she's going to give us a little update. Thank you, Carrie. Come and give a report, please.
Okay, Amy, how do I turn this on? Is it on? Okay. All right, we're good. Okay, so I just wanted to share with everybody, in the fall, I came up and kind of told everybody what God was calling me to next in working with international students at Purdue in Indiana, and I just want to say thank you for praying for me, thank you for supporting me, and I'd love to just tell you I'm about 90% of what of my monthly budget of what I need to raise, so God's really provided. Yeah. God has really provided, and I'm really excited. So I'm still working a little bit more on that, working on consecration, still praying about when is a good time to move to Indiana. My goal has been March, so I'm kind of keep going in that direction. So you can just keep praying that God keeps providing and just keeps opening doors, and just for when I get there with students. And specifically, you can also be praying for housing. Pray that God will really provide a perfect location for me to live among students. So that's kind of also I'm not really sure when I'm moving because I'm not sure where I'm going to live when I'm there. So, but that's all. I just wanted to say thank you, and if you're home watching, thank you too for praying, and that's my update.
Thank you, Carrie. So Carrie has been an invaluable addition to the front office for the last 6 months, and we really benefited from her service, but we want to get behind her and send her on her way as she heads into some greater kingdom work elsewhere, ministering to internationals. And Carrie, you did a great job at the front office. We'll celebrate you a little more later. But for now, we're going to have Zach Green, our youth leader, come forward and give us his report. Come on down, Zach. Here you go.
Hello, if you haven't met me yet, I am Zach Green, the new youth leader. First, I want to say my wife, Sydney, and my son, Xander, and I are so excited and happy and blessed to be here and be a part of this church and this community. So thank you for all the warm welcomes and kind words and just ushering us into this ministry and this next season of our lives. So thank you. So I have a PowerPoint that is not up yet. Okay. Well, I'm going to go through my ministry report that I have in front of me, and I think most of you have one with you as well. There's a lot of new things happening in the youth ministry. So our vision statement is we strive to see each student's life trajectory changed forever by their relationship with Christ. That's something that's very important to me and all of the leaders that we have. We really want to make sure there's an emphasis on actual commitment to Christ and life change that follows, and the trajectory of these students' lives going towards Christ and towards good things and things of God. So our vision for this youth ministry is to guide every student to make a personal decision to follow Christ and accept Him as Lord and Savior, as their Lord and Savior. Christians are called to grow, and we want to grow through truth. We want to grow with trust in the Lord, biblical knowledge, faithful prayer, and the fruits and gifts of the Spirit. So some of the things that we're doing to move his kingdom forward and disciple these students is we have small groups and Bible studies where we're diving deeper with the students, and a leadership class that we're going to start soon, a discipleship class. We're going to call it discipleship. I know it's very original, but with that class, we're going to dive deeper. There we go. Okay. Can we go to the, I believe, second or third slide? Okay, thank you. Vision statement, please. So with that discipleship class, we're using that as an opportunity to dig deeper with the students and strengthen their knowledge of the Bible and answer questions that they have about who God is, answer questions about the Bible, and just ultimately strengthen their relationship with Christ. Along with that, something we're going to do is teach them leadership principles and really disciple them in the ways of what it means to be a Christian and what it means to go disciple other students and bring other people closer to God and have other people's life change by the way that we live and interact with one another, and the way that we serve our church and our community, and the way we serve God in everything we do. So by the example that the leaders set for the students and what we teach them in the deeper moments, like that discipleship class and our small groups that we have on actual Sunday nights during youth group, those are some of the ways that we're really, like I like to say, dig deeper with the students. So moving on to next slide, please. So the youth room, we've been updating the youth room recently, and we're trying to cultivate a life-giving environment that we can that will help us reach the students for Christ. Here, I'll read one of the slides. The vision for the youth room is for it to be a fun, positive atmosphere where students can relax, be themselves, and connect with one another and with leaders. Recently, we sold the pool table. We bought an air hockey table and a pop shot arcade basketball game. And some of those things just make it fun and relevant, and the pool table wasn't really being used, and it was starting to kind of get in rough shape. So I kind of pulled the students on if they wanted to keep the pool table or not, and we came to the consensus that we would upgrade. And we're having a lot of fun with these new games that we got. And some of the future upgrades that we want to do is we want to paint the walls, get couch covers, and carpet squares, because anyone who has kids or students of any age knows that kids are they're very messy a lot of times, and they might spill drinks, or they will spill drinks and make some messes on the floor. So if we get carpet squares, instead of having to just upgrade or just have stains on the carpet all the time, we can just take one square or two squares out where the stain was, and it's a cheap and effective way to keep the youth room looking clean and organized, and just like an environment of excellence is what I like to say. So next slide, please. So twice a year, we will be having what I like to call student takeover service. The youth group will be running 2 Sundays of worship services this coming year. So what that looks like is in all areas of serving on a Sunday, the students will help greet, the students will help on worship, hopefully. I'll preach that day, and the children's ministry will get involved, and we'll all just, really the next generation of the church kind of takes over that day and serves, and gets an opportunity to be the hands and feet and actually get involved with the service, like us adults get to a lot of the time. Next slide, please. So, with our youth night structure, youth nights are Sunday evenings at 6:30 to 8:30, and we always like to have a ton of fun with the students, and most importantly, like I touched on before, bring them the Word and bring them in community with Christ, and dive deeper, dig deeper, and ultimately change their trajectory towards Christ, opposed to what the world is aiming them towards. Our largest attendance that we've had recently was 20 students, and that's just a cool benchmark. We're excited about that. Thank you. It's not all about numbers, and it's actually all about discipleship and bringing people to God, but it is a cool benchmark and a cool sign that God is bringing people to us that we can nurture and grow. So praise God for that. We average about 15 students, so the youth ministry is definitely growing, and it's just something to be excited about and thank God for. And another thing that we're praying for is just for God to continue to soften hearts and open ears and open eyes to His Word, and to how they can really surrender to Christ. We have a variety of different events throughout the month. We like to use the events to keep momentum, to encourage evangelism, in the sense of encourage students to invite their friends and bring them in so that we can just build in community with them and get them into the Word. And so what we like to do is we start the first Sunday of the month, we have a service night. It's a traditional youth service night mirroring a regular church worship service. And so that's a night that we do announcements, worship, I preach, and we play a game at somewhere towards the end of it. And on the second and third week, we do squad nights, and that's like a small group night where we have a lot of different ages of students that go to youth group, and sometimes it's nice to get the younger students and the older students kind of separated, where they can feel more comfortable with older students. They can feel more comfortable to open up and actually learn something, ask some questions that they might normally be embarrassed to ask, or just talk about some things that they're not comfortable talking about with younger students or their little siblings around. And then with the younger crowd, they can feel free to be the maturity level that they're supposed to be at their age, and they can learn at their pace when we talk about the Bible and read Bible verses with them and to them. And it's just a good way to minister to them, minister to the students where they are at in their life at that time. So the fourth week of every month, we like to do, we have a variety of different things that we'll do. We like to kind of keep it spiced up. We'll have a worship night or a squad war or a big event. A squad war is where the different age groups are each on a team, squad. The group that is meeting the last 2 weeks prior together, so they're building community with each other, and they're building team mentality, and their team pride. And then so the younger kids will get to kind of play a tournament style game. Maybe it's dodgeball or something like that with the older students. And I know you're thinking, whoa, like that's not fair. Like you're really letting these little kids get beat up like in these games by older students. Well, no, we have the leaders on the younger kids team, on the middle school team, and it usually evens out to be really fun and challenging. And the little kids, when the leaders help them win, the middle school students and under feel a sense of accomplishment and kind of, hey, I beat you, you know, like to their older friends and older siblings. So, next slide, please. Okay, I touched on this earlier, but the discipleship Bible study. So it's going to be bi-weekly. It's a discipleship class specifically for high schoolers. So we're really trying to disciple and lead students who are ready to disciple and lead. And all ages can disciple to someone, so don't hear what I'm not saying. With high schoolers, we are going to just kind of focus on them to cultivate that the word of the Lord in them, but also like the leadership abilities that they have, and also be able to delegate some responsibilities to them in the youth ministry, and also try to get them plugged into different serve teams here at CrossPoint throughout the week or on a Sunday morning. And that way we can have different ministry leaders discipling the students as they serve on those teams. Slide, please. So, thank you to our leaders for giving your time and sharing your talents with the students and really with the church and just serving God in that way. The leaders that we have right now are Sydney Green, my wife, Rob and Michelle Wiesen, and most recently we added Derek Deese. I want to actually give them all a round of applause for all that they're doing. So. Thank you. We also want to thank Drew Wolf for coming and helping with youth worship on service nights. Big shout out to him. Thank you for all that you do. We are still looking for new youth leaders all the time. So if there's anyone who wants to find out more about that or see if they're the right fit or if they can make an impact in these students' lives, most importantly, please come talk to Sydney or I or any of the youth leaders. I'll take you out and get coffee. We'll abide by COVID rules and regulations. But I'll get to know you and see if you're a good fit for the ministry, if we can ultimately bless the students together. So next slide, please. And, at this time, if anyone has any questions at all about the youth ministry or anything that I can just clarify for you, please let me know. Sydney's going to come up and help me answer the questions with me. So. Hello, Sydney. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, a couple slides back, you had, I think it was more the young adults, and you had bi-weekly.
Okay.
So are you meeting twice a week with the older kids, or is that supposed to be bi-monthly?
It's supposed to be bi-monthly, and it was the high schoolers discipleship class. Yeah. So thank you for clarifying that for me.
And then also with that, like on Sunday evenings, you've got a diverse age group. I think you answered it, that with Sydney helping and the other couple. Was that other couple here this morning with you guys?
They are, and they are actually in the back with Xander right now, with my son. So.
Maybe speak to your future plans regarding age groups and such.
So, in the future, we plan on having, as we build the ministry team, and we have more youth leaders who are trained and ready and gone through the proper vetting and all of these things. We want to eventually have the middle schoolers and under all have a specific leader for those middle 2 weeks out of the month, and as the youth ministry grows, we'll even break it up into just for those 2 middle weeks of the month, and we'll call them squads like I talked about before, but we'll break it up into more defined age brackets or grades, or however we're able to do that best suits the situation with how many students we have per grade or per age group. Did that? Okay.
We also hope to separate each squad into a different home from someone around the community that goes to the church, so that they, instead of just always meeting at the church, we enjoy meeting in people's homes as well. And then that's why the first service night of the month, we can do a larger event with all the students together so that they still get to know everyone, that all the students that go to the church, but then also get the time separated and feel that they have their own group where they can get closer in relationship, and where when we do small groups, we separate by gender as well. So girl leaders with girl students, and we separate high school versus middle school. So that is all. Any other questions? Okay. Oh.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Can somebody close that door? I get distracted easily. But, yeah, it's there. Want to talk about what God's been doing in ESL? This is not on. Now it's on. Okay. And just wanted to click it myself. There we go. This is the verse I have on the report there, and this is what we want to see happen because of ESL. There before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every tribe and nation and people and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They fell down on their faces before the throne and worshiped God. That's our primary first focus here, is going to be worshiping. We want to see people that have been here through ESL or through other churches that have come to know Christ in that gathering. And we are thrilled to see what God has been doing. And there's kind of a neat picture of the nations coming from the continents to the United States. And that list running through is the 59 countries that God has blessed us with over the 7 years that we've been doing ESL. I'm going to do a special thank you to several people, especially my wife Jean, for all the sacrifice that she has made for me to fulfill my passion with ESL. 29 different workers this year, even though we were in COVID. Each of them huge, huge ways of ministering, and I'm thankful for them. Thankful for Carrie Lawrence and her huge commitment of time in the classroom and individually with our students that love her to pieces. Kelly Brown, who makes me look good, or for the whole half a year that she was here. And also, she's going to be helping me with grant writing coming into the new year. I'm very thankful for that, Kelly. Corinne helped over the first couple of months before COVID hit as administrative assistant, and that sent me into God, I need an administrative assistant, and I'll share that in a few minutes here. Pastor David, thank you for your incredible, unending friendship and encouragement all along the way. And finally, I am so thankful for the first time in 7 years,
I was blessed to be compensated full-time for work from many very generous donors, and also for the church beginning to support in that way. There we go. Some people may be confused between CrossPoint ESL and Great Commission ESL. Let me clarify, because they're two different entities. CrossPoint ESL is our goal here in the general area is to share Jesus' love with internationals through quality English teaching and cultural opportunities in a caring atmosphere to build deep relationships, drawing students to a saving knowledge of Christ. We've been blessed to have 4 different locations around the Akron area. CrossPoint ESL is meeting the folks in this immediate region. Great Commission ESL, we started in 2017, and that's designed to cast vision, equip, and coach local churches to launch academically sound, evangelistically focused, and sustainable ESL ministries to reach the nations in the United States and around the world. And God has just been hugely blessed in the last several years to be able to travel and help other churches do what we're doing here. The things we lost because of COVID. Students have lost connection, not just with us as teachers, but with their friends from other nations. It's amazing. We never thought a lot about that, but they develop very, very deep friendships. We've lost our face-to-face here at church with COVID this past year. Our big events, like Taste of World Cultures, and that's when we have the whole place filled out, and we want to do that again. Tournaments, badminton and ping pong tournaments were just great things that haven't been able to happen. And all the wonderful ladies' dinners, to see tables like this filled with our students, even the husbands coming to help serve and hearing the gospel presented has been an amazing thing. But it didn't happen this last year. Meeting in homes and doing cooking classes, all those other things that we have lost this last year. When things shut down at CrossPoint, we had to get creative, and we started doing ESL conversation over at Copley Park. And I was in there, I spent a lot of time at Copley Park, which was really, really wonderful to be able to meet students in a lot of different places. God has allowed us at Easter to take 39 potted flowers to a lot of our students, which was right into things, and it was so neat to be able to have conversations at a distance because they felt so isolated. You think you and I are isolated, but when you're here and you can't talk to anybody in your building, that's huge. At Christmas time, our teachers wrote Christmas cards, and students got several different means of hearing the gospel in that pack. This is something that's also started just at the end of the year, Operation Soft Landing. We had 2 students that flew back to Japan the 23rd and 24th of December, but Bridgestone brought them here, most of them. Bridgestone brought them here, kind of the Bridgestone pipeline, but they have, in fact, that picture is students around our new missionary, the Brios. We've been praying for them to be able to get over to Japan, and right now, Jonathan's in the hospital. He's had some real serious issues going on. I think he's getting better now. But what's happening is the soft landing. When Japanese or any student returns home from America, nobody talks English anymore to them. They lose the English, but now they are a little bit different than the other Japanese that never went to America. There's a disconnect. They just don't quite fit in, and it's really, really hard. So what we're going to be doing this Wednesday night, we're going to have our first Zoom English corner to all of our students, at least the 2 that went. We've also connected with some others that have gone home recently and start doing some conversation to continue to help them see how important the Lord is in our lives. Great Commission ESL is basically, as the first slide said, they're broken down into vision, casting, equipping, and coaching. This last year, I was able to go to California with Reaching Japanese for Christ organization and do a webinar for them and also a workshop. RAIN is a group that's within the Alliance. It's Refugee and Immigrant Network. And I was able to go to Georgia to help them out with seeing how important ESL can be for reaching refugees and immigrants. This last year, there wasn't a whole lot of equipping going on, but I was able to squeeze in a trip to Miami and also to Columbus to help those organizations start ESL ministries, both of which are going tremendously. But one of the biggest things that happened related to equipping ministries was, rather than always going to a church, equipping a church with a couple of people there, we developed a Zoom. I call it ESL Network Workshop 2.0. Now I can sit in the office here with another trainer, and we, as you see, did a workshop in November. There were 5 trained from our church, plus those from 6 other states. So now we can be training people all over the country without having to go there. It's a lot less expensive for the church, and it's easier for me not to have to go someplace where I got to wear the mask. But hopefully, that's going to continue to improve. God has done some incredible, very incredible provision for us. The first one happened, we got another dream grant this past year for 2021. Can anybody read the number on there? It's $10,000. And we are excited about that. It doesn't go to anybody's salary. It's for ministry operations, it's for flights and travel, things like that. But it's really, really a blessing to see the Alliance sees the value in ESL. God answered another prayer in the intern. There's a young man, his name is Victor. You're going to see him here. He is an intern for 20 hours a week. He graduated high school. He's probably heading to Crown, heading to the mission field, and he wanted some experience with internationals. And he's already done a huge amount of help for me, so I'm going to be able to spend a lot more time on fundraising this next year so we can continue to build the ministry. But he's a tremendous young man. Also, vision for here at CrossPoint is someday we're going to get students back in the building. And I actually have, Victor is tracking in Summit County the numbers as they're going down to see when Carrie Nike and others can decide, hey, we can do that again with masks on. But we're going to need more teachers because not everybody's going to come back to the building here. Some of our teachers are old enough or seasoned enough that they're not comfortable coming back. So it's going to be an interesting hybrid. We're also going to be doing some video training. There we go. To do some education, trying to help our teachers not just say, hey, you should tell a story, you should read a Bible verse in class, but actually show them how that happens. Our desire is to see students come to Christ, and we really want to equip our teachers to do that, something we're going to be doing this year. Also finding new activities. I think we're going to go ice skating. We figured that's something we could probably do, and people stay far apart. If you fall, you have to pick yourself up, I guess. Going to start a newsletter, which has not been consistent at all, but that's something that's going to be going out to those who would like to pray for the ministry. And we're going to try to keep updated on the Wednesday prayer as things are happening. There's a lot of ways that it'd be helpful to have your help in prayer. For this coming year, in the vision casting department, I'm hoping to go to General Council. It's been a great chance there to meet with lots of churches that may be interested. Rain is having a training out in California, where I'm hoping that might work out to be able to talk with not only the Southwest District, which is in that part of the country. The Arab district, which is an ethnic district, is going to be a part of that to try to help out reaching Japanese for Christ. The goal of trying to visit other district conferences. And the last one there is kind of an interesting project. I have, with Lori Feist, have found out that within about 20 miles or 15 miles of 60 Japanese tire and automakers are 2,000 Alliance churches. And we're going to be reaching out to them and saying, hey, this is what's happening here. Do you have anybody that's coming on contract in your community, and how that might be something that we could help others with? Equipping. We are going to try to get some more trainers. I have 5 other teacher trainers. Carrie's one that could do a workshop with me, trying to find some more. We're hoping to get more Zoom workshops this coming year, and that overseas, this is the number of countries, 5 of which have been working with me on conversations trying to figure out how can they start ESL, the missionaries that are there. And this is a temporary, kind of a short timeline. Ukraine, Dominican Republic, maybe late this year, maybe next. Japan wants to start ESL, especially when the Brios get there. And then Russia and Guatemala have begun to talk about how can we do what you're doing there to reach the people that are coming into our communities from other countries. Oh, I'm sorry. That's only one place I can stand. I forgot about that. Okay, coaching. We're going to start a website this coming year. Try to help the 38 churches we have been responsible for in training and coaching to help them improve, help them reach more people for Christ. And so we're also going to do some Zoom meetings on that level as well. And this is my last slide, and this is something that's really near and dear to my heart. In the Alliance, we have 21 geographic districts. We are the Central District, which is Eastern Ohio and West Virginia. Up there you can see East-West Pennsylvania. This is Middle America, and that's the Northeast. Each of those is a district with several states. Almost all of the geographic districts are Anglo. They look like us. There's very little composition difference. The ethnic districts, this is the East Spanish district, covers a huge amount of area, much smaller churches, and there has been very little overlap between the geographic and the ethnic. I served on a committee 2 years ago at council and found out how these ethnic pastors feel left out of the whole thing, and they would never approach a big Alliance church to help them. And what I'm hoping to do is through connections with headquarters and other places to try to get geographic, usually Anglo church, to match up with a small ethnic church to help them do ESL together. And it's a vision that I have, and I've been trying to continue to beat the horn on that, but we'll see how it goes. But be praying for that. There's lots of needs for you to be praying. Want to wake up the whole CMA. So, I need you to stay healthy. No, I need your prayers. We need your prayers. Would appreciate, I know that many of you do pray for CrossPoint ESL and for Great Commission ESL. So, I am done. Are there any questions? All right. David. Thank you.
Bruce, can you leave that clicker? Thank you, sir. All right. So before I get started on my report, thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Zach, for your reports. So a big shout out to Carrie Lyman. She has done a great job. And of course, we're transitioning now to Sydney, so they have handed off the baton. We went through the processes, and Sydney will fly on her own effective 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, although she's already kind of got her fingers and things. So Carrie's done a fantastic job. You know, we thought about the process of hiring Carrie and, you know, figured you guys might want to hear the backstory about how that went. And so we kept a video kind of history of that process and figured we'll go ahead and treat you guys with a video. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Okay, guys, Kelly's going to retire soon, and we need to hire a new office administrator. So let's discuss how we hire good candidates, and then we'll talk about the interview process.
Hey, before we go any further, Kelly's done a tremendous job, but I really think we need a man for the job in the office.
Well, there is someone you may want to think about.
Hey, Bruce, that is a great idea. That is awesome. There are too many qualified male candidates who get passed over because they are, guys. Bruce, way to be decisive. You're a great leader.
Hey, no problem, David. I'm just that kind of man.
Ugh.
All right. Well, here are my thoughts. Let's put out some feelers to the congregation first and see who comes forward, and then we'll interview guy candidates. We'll also have them man the front desk for an hour to see how they do. Also, I think we might need to have a benevolence call come in and see kind of how they handle that.
What I was trying to say earlier is you might want to think about.
Well, okay, guys, we got our plan in place, and so let's just go for it, okay? All right.
Guys, if that's what you want to do, I did think, oh, well, whatever.
All right, awesome. Let's do it. All right, Bart Grassi, we have your resume. It looks like you are 110 years old and have a lot of sales experience. But Bart, what would you say is your primary skill?
David, it's hard to tell. It's got so many skills. I'm good at negotiating, got a good price on a roof in 2020. Let's see, I served with distinction as a facility manager. I also have a skill that nobody really knows about. I do ballet. I can dance.
Bart, can you type?
Hey, Bart, can you really do ballet dancing? Wow, Jen and I used to do square dancing before COVID hit, but do you think you can teach me how to dance ballet? Boy, if she saw me dancing ballet, I think she would be really impressed.
Absolutely, Bruce. I just finished doing the Nutcracker in December. I got you covered, bro. We'll teach you how to do ballet in no time at all.
Well, Bruce, I think Bart will go to the next round of interviews, and congratulations, Bart. You might just be our guy.
Oh, guys, I'm really honored. This is great. People at CrossPoint only know me as the facility manager guy. This would be a great opportunity to show them how versatile I really am.
All right, Mr. Haas, it looks like we've got your resume. Thank you for that. And you have a very strong background in plumbing. And you also mentioned that you have a lot of other skills. Jay, what would you say is your primary skill?
Well, folks, thanks for having me. I think my primary skill is plumbing. I enjoy working with my hands and not afraid to get them dirty. As far as the administrative work that we're talking about here, I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, but I think I can figure it out. And I do have one other skill that, if we keep quiet, I can tell you about. And only my wife knows this, but I am a government spy.
Jay, it's good to have you on the call. Can you type?
Hey, Jay, did you say spy? That is so cool. How many missions have you been on?
Well, there was this time in Mozambique.
Hey, that sounds great. I think that's a much needed skill here at the front office, but I think we should move you to the next round. I think it sounds good to me.
Oh boy, I'm humbled by that. Thank you very much. You know, Luann doesn't think that I have it in me to be able to do this, but I want to really impress her and show her that I do have a gentle side and I can get dishpan hands. So thank you.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you at the next round, Jay. Okay, Levi, got your message on the church Instagram account saying you're interested in the office administrator job. However, before we get into that, before I left the house this morning, I told you to do the dishes. Did you do them?
Dad, I got more important things to do, like interview for a real job. I'll get the dishes done after I take care of some personal stuff.
Okay, you know what? Like when this interview's over, me and Mom are going to talk, and you may well be out of the house.
David, let me try to help here. So, Levi, what would you say is your primary skill?
Thank you for asking, Mr. Bruce. I've got Snapchat streaks with well over 20 people, and all those streaks are in excess of 100 days. Okay, mic drop. I also have advanced skills on social media, and I'm also very good at video games.
So what's a streak?
Bruce, streaks count how many consecutive days two people have been sending snaps to one another. But Levi, we do need to know about your office skills. Can you type?
But what's a snap? Oh, well, no matter. Levi, you've impressed me. We're going to send you to the next round. Nice job.
Hey Diane, it's Bart. Listen, I'm trying to find a tutu for Bruce. We're gonna teach him how to do ballet. You've got one at home big enough? Hello?
Is this a church? I need help. I'm in the hospital yet. Yes, sure, I can explain. I try to stay fit, and the other day I was pole vaulting in my backyard. Anyway, I cleared the fence, but fell wrong and twisted my ankle. I need someone to help with my $3 billion hospital bill. Can you help?
We're glad you called. This is the church. Thank you. First of all, I've always found it helpful to dance. Can you do ballet? Hello? Hello?
Hey Luann, how you doing? I'm at the church, working on this gig here, and I think this will be a piece of cake for me. I don't think anybody's around, so I think I'm gonna go over and jump in the hot tub for a little bit. So I'll talk to you later. Love you. Yeah, I'll pick up milk. Okay, bye.
What in the world? What is this?
Hey, Jay, what's going on, bro? The office phone was ringing. I didn't see you there.
Nothing's going on. I'm just checking out the waters and I guess making sure the tub is working the way it's supposed to.
Okay, well that's cool. I appreciate that. We probably should stay in the office, just to kind of catch the call. So.
Okay, sorry about that.
Alright, boys, let's go get them. Hey, come here. Let's go get them. They're over here. Guys on me.
Okay, guys, thanks for making the debrief call. Let's go ahead and talk about how the candidates did. I gotta be honest, that was pretty rough. I was really hoping Bart would pull through, but his desire for ballet and stuff, it's good, but I don't.
I'm having my doubts too, Dave McHale. I was so hoping to see Jay's spying ability, but it might be hard to keep him in the office. He really loves that baptistry. And Levi, well, kids in video these days.
Well, Kelly, look, we put in 30 plus hours of recruiting and interviewing and asking questions. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes, I do. As I was trying to say before this entire process got started, why don't we check in with Carrie Lyman?
I think Carrie would do a great job.
Bruce, I'm so glad you thought of that. Why don't you ask her? That was a great idea.
Well, yes, leave it to a man to think of a great candidate.
Good job, Bruce. I'm so proud of you. Bruce, just talk to her. Let's see if we can put her through the steps and see how she does in the process.
need to be able to laugh every now and then. Good job, Bruce. Actually, I told Jay, I was pretty impressed with all of the interview people. You guys have some natural acting abilities, but Jay, you might have a future, and Bart, you too. At any rate, what's that? Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, the theme verse, as we start the report that I selected for us, I usually like to have a verse to kind of speak out over the congregation and reiterate as the year goes on, is Jeremiah 33:3. Call to me, and I will answer you, and will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known. Jeremiah 33:3. So Jesus is calling CrossPoint into the future. Call to me is a beautiful invitation. He will reveal to us all his kind intentions. We will know all we need to know when we need to know. The sparkle of grace awaits us as hidden things become plain. Perhaps the first order of thanks should go out to our tech team. Of necessity, we needed to make some upgrades. They worked tirelessly and selflessly in making our services accessible, and none of the tech changes were planned, as in none. I was thinking we would do this maybe 5 years in. Great, COVID accelerated. We had to adapt in real time, and thank you to Curtis, Jameson, Derek, Amy, Drew, and John Feist. Another thank you goes out to Kelly Brown. We reiterate our gratitude for 12 years of faithful service. As the office administrator, Kelly, you finished well. Thanks goes out to Carrie Lyman, who stepped in for a few months to succeed Kelly and prepare the way for Sidney Green. Finally, we need to thank a certain sector of our fellowship. We gratefully acknowledge the more seasoned believers among us. Your sensitivity to giving and generosity helped push us over the finish line with mortgage retirement. You were able to apply your gifts and strengths in ways many others simply could not. Thank you for modeling generosity. Thank you for modeling Jesus. Your investment will bring forth much fruit in the lives of people you might not even know. Looking back, we had no idea what was coming. We had our annual meeting, celebrated God's work at CrossPoint, set some goals, and sallied forth. Then came March 2020. Within a few days, the schools, businesses, and churches shut down. In one day, Jesus ushered in a new normal. When Jesus brings change, he calls us to change how we think. CrossPoint had to adjust. None of us were really prepared. We discerned a few things, though, and you will remember we actually wrote some things up on the walls in our meeting in June, our first worship service after our lockdown. We discerned that, number one, Jesus is in control, absolute control. With a word, he can change the trajectory of the entire world. He is strong, our systems are not. He leads, we follow, and in this we rest. We also discern the need to slow down. Sabbath. Some church programming had to be discontinued. Sunday school, women's banquets, 5-day club, and many other planned initiatives were canceled. Our understanding of God's sovereignty, though, demands that we accept these cancellations and delays as his divine pleasure. In this we rest. We also discern that Jesus is in charge of his church. What about the church? Will we make it? Do we even have the ability to stay connected now? Are our people okay? How can we do this if we can't even shake hands, hug, and meet as we've always done? And yet the church belongs to Jesus. We did begin 2020 with two primary goals in mind: pay off the mortgage and raise up new leadership. The Lord did strengthen our hands to do battle, and by his grace we did accomplish this work. The giants that we slew in 2020, and they did come tumbling down. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Remember, we said that. The mortgage, as was already noted at the front end of the day, was $206K. We retired that mortgage. Let's have another round of applause. Yes. I can tell that lunch is setting in. The carbs are starting to subdue us. Just hang in there. Now we are free to invest more in the next generation. Outreach work, gospel preaching. We are free to build with an eye towards more growth and development. Meeting this goal will continue to pay dividends as we steer into the future. We also slew another giant in 2020. This is a picture of our service, a mortgage payoff service, but we also slew another giant in 2020, which was the second goal that we had, was raising up new leadership. I tell you what, honestly, I'm off script here, but last year there were so many headwinds that it wasn't until the last week or so when I got up to do assessment work, I thought, not bad. Not bad. We did a lot. So here are the faces that we have seen show up in 2020 that we put into new leadership. This is the new staff team. Now, we've got Carrie Lyman's face there. Of course, she's heading out to serve with International Students Incorporated, but Sydney Green is taking her place. This is our new team, guys. This is the staff team, and this is a great team. A big hand for the staff, guys. Yep. Bruce Lyman and Carrie Lawrence will serve as stabilizing influences for the new team. Good job, guys. Looking ahead. Before we begin casting vision for 2021, let's celebrate our identity in Jesus. First things first, Jesus is the shepherd, and we are his sheep. Love, dependence, and protection describe this relationship. We are cared for by the most competent leader that has ever lived. While the world is turned upside down with speculation and worry, we are secure in his love. What is the practical effect of this security gift from Jesus? Well, this practical effect is manifested in this way. CrossPoint, and listen to me, we've got new people here. You need to listen to this. CrossPoint has a rich deposit of love and trust. You really need to grab onto that, because that is a unique gift that Jesus has put into this body. Love and trust. Those things don't exist on their own. It's like, I think of the phrase, and I am off script here, but I think of the phrase when Jesus called on some of the churches in Asia Minor, hold fast to what I've given you. This is something that we need to hold fast to. Love and trust. We love one another, and we create trust, and we practice trust, but we have to love one another. That is a strong baseline. That is a result of the will of Jesus to put something into this fellowship that is distinctive. Yes, all congregations are supposed to have love, and they do to a certain extent. This one's special. This one has a large deposit of it. So with an understanding of this spiritual DNA, may we hold fast to what we have. This deposit makes for a very strong baseline. Okay, you need to listen to that. It makes for a very strong baseline. And this baseline provides a launching pad for us. As we begin our journey into 2021, we're adding new language and messaging. Our vision moving forward is imitating Jesus. The supporting values of worship, equip, and engage provide the needed rails for future movement. This language creates culture. And culture is the collection of our deeply held convictions, practices, and values. With that said, what does this church family have in its hand? What do we have? Let's do some assessment work. Well, here are the things that we have. Number one, we have love and trust. Okay. Number two, we have a paid-off mortgage. Number three, we got a new staff team. And number four, we have updated messaging. What do these things mean? Collectively, these things indicate capacity to grow and expand. I want to just pause for a second there. They do. We've got some things working for us. Now, we faced some headwinds in 2020, COVID headwinds, but there's some groundwork that has been laid that is now providing a structure for us to move forward. To that end, we will build clear pathways for people to access our church family. I want to just reiterate here. We want to communicate clearly with the unengaged in our community. We are going to build clear pathways for visitors. We will build discipleship paths for new believers, emerging leaders, and parents who are asking questions. We will build clear pathways for people to advance the kingdom outside of our walls. Are you noticing the word pathway a lot? That's a need for us. We have organic pathways right now that we kind of are doing some of these things, introducing people to CrossPoint, getting them plugged into teams. They're organic. They're not as designed and as clear as they could be. And we definitely have a lot of work to set out clear pathways for someone who is unengaged to access CrossPoint and then to get into the interior of CrossPoint, a clear step-by-step pathway. And in doing these things, these actions will be faith-fueled initiatives that indicate our care for Jesus' followers. Are we prepared to care for those he sends to us? Are we going to instill in our people discipleship that prepares them for this generation? And are we then willing to release people to go out from us to serve elsewhere? So this will be a primary internal focus for us this coming year, is building up systems and pathways. In addition to that, finally, we will place some needed focus on building updates. Our building is showing a little age. We noted during the mortgage retirement campaign that we want to do some updating. For 2021, we will focus on renovating the foyer. In early February, as in maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3, Zach Green and Joe Paul will roll out the vision and logistics to accomplishing a foyer upgrade. Let me conclude with a personal note. CrossPoint, the Yoder family, is so glad to be here and walk this journey with you. May we all love Jesus more at the conclusion of 2021 than we do now. I truly love this church body and wake up every morning thinking, Jesus, you're being very kind to me and my family. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you. Now, questions, comments, criticisms, suggestions, or jokes? At this time, the floor is open. Yes, Rick Noble.
I never got contacted for the benevolence deeds on your video.
Rick is not happy. He wants more pathways leading to the deacon group. I gave you a shout out, though. I told you I would. All right, yes, Jay Haas.
I think we need to, or we should look into some other kind of storage place for this place. Just that taking down Christmas stuff, that's the only storage we had. It just doesn't work.
Well, Tom Lucetti, are you streaming? Bart?
Brought some things up in the past, a couple of ideas.
Okay.
I have an idea for what's within the walls.
Okay.
And that's back in the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
Taking some of that space back there.
Okay.
Like we discussed with somebody at a later time, that even if we go out that door and build a shed.
Yeah.
This place is going to grow. It's got to have somewhere to put chairs,
Mm-hmm.
and musical stuff. And
Yes.
stuff.
That might be Tom Lucetti's first order of business to tackle that, and Bart is probably relieved to hand that off to Tom.
You focus on your belly.
Yeah, that's actually the room behind us is getting pretty full. Yes, we have a question from the back. Is this from the streaming?
Yeah, this is from online. Are we getting new carpet in the building?
Well, so that is not planned for this next year. We paid off the mortgage in 2020, and that was a big, big deal. And so we're thinking more strategically in incremental terms. So for 2021, it's just the foyer, and we are looking at glazing the floor and putting a glaze on instead of carpet, so that when something spills, we can clean it up. But I assume that question extends to the rest of the building. There are not plans in place to do that at this time. I think it's safe to say that in the future, as we continue our push, we will deal with that. Okay? Other questions? Yes, Diane Grassi.
We have tutus if any of you guys would like one.
Okay. The Grassies have tutus for those that are joining us online. They can fit Bruce. Yes, Carrie Lawrence.
I appreciate that idea of pathways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'll tell you what we're working on right now is, as you know, at the staff level, I've asked the staff, all of them, to come up with a plan, an integration plan for additional workers and or leaders to each team, so that when we have someone come, are we ready to train them and run them through our pipelines, or is it going to be, hey, just kind of feel your way through and figure it out? We want to give clear pathways. So that's not only true of volunteers, that also is true of, well, let's just talk about visitors right now. We have a system set up in place to treat visitors, kind of a 4-step process, but we basically go from visitor to member. So that's 0 to 60. And so we want to put an intermediate step in there, like an intro to CrossPoint class, where in 2 weeks' time you can get the essence of what we are about. And for some, you know, a 4-week-long class on membership might be a little challenging, but we're thinking of that. And also the website. We pretty much have not touched that for 2 years, just because we've been getting things cleaned up, but now we want to just essentially, people always hit your website first, and right now we've got data up from 2017, sign-up sheets, and just, it's a mess, and I've just been kind of hiding my head because we've had other things we're dealing with, but that would be another example of a pathway. It's like you have to have integrity on your website, and if you have stuff up saying, you know, register for 2017, whatever, then we're communicating to people we're a mess. We got another question from online.
Yeah, I got another question online. What is the 4-step process for visitors?
Okay, maybe you can help me out too, because even as I said 4-step, I'm like, what is it? So one, we need a communication card. So you fill out that card, and we're going to start getting more consistent with hitting that up every time on Sunday morning and directing people's attention to the communication card. So they fill that out. Now, we haven't done this yet, Rick. I know we've got a system, but when we overhaul the foyer, we're going to put in a welcome center. Okay? So step 1 be take your card to the welcome center and you get your gift bag there. Okay? And then step 2, you get an email from me Monday or Tuesday the following week saying, hey, now that's already happening. Glad you're here. We loved having you. We care about visitors, you know, blah, 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 if I can say that. And then they get a follow-up letter in a handwritten note from me that they get by Thursday with a small gift card to Panera or Starbucks. Again, just a personal touch saying, thank you for joining us. Love to see you again. Now that's 3 in my mind. Did I misspeak, Carrie? What's 4? Yeah. Okay. So when you sign up for church emails, well, you know how touchy that can be, right? Every time I order something online, I'm always looking for that box to check that don't send me your stuff. But if I actually tell you I want your stuff, that means I'm on board. So that's like step 4 is when we get them in the database. And now they're hearing from us for our updates and our news items. So, yeah, thank you. Question, Luann?
How about maintaining members that have not come in a while? Do you guys reach out to them?
Yeah, so we're divided up into elder care groups. And so everyone is a part of, if you're on our roster, everyone is a part of an elder care group. And so that elder is then reaching out, and that's a system that we have in place for especially those, if you're here and you're worshiping with us, we kind of see you, especially the shut-ins. That's a particular demographic that we care a lot about, and I hope many of you that are shut in are joining us. We pray for you regularly, and we really, really, really miss you. But the care group is the system. Yeah. Okay? All right. Okay. Now that the carbs have taken their full effect, we should greet everyone with Mountain Dews as soon as you exit the sanctuary. Here. Okay? All right. We've got work to do, CrossPoint. You don't want people just coming and sitting. And if we want to take more territory, you got to work to actually, like, there's ground to be taken. And it doesn't, I mean, he opens the doors, but you got to go through there and you got to work. And I'm feeling the joy of that. I'm feeling the draw of that. But I'm quite aware that with the assets that we have in place, that's not getting anything done. That's just preparing the way for movement. That those two things are separate. I don't know if that makes sense, but yes. Okay. All right. So anyone else? We'll go ahead and pray and conclude. No more questions from the streaming community? Okay. Very good. Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Carrie, for carrying us today. All right. Let me pray for us. Jesus, we reiterate something that we've been reiterating through the entire day, and that is that you're the head of this church. We don't want to get in front of you and start making plans and doing things that we just kind of thought would be cool. We definitely don't want to get behind you either. If you have moved and have left the present season, we want to follow you into the next season. So help us and guide us to that end. We pray for an ongoing deluge of grace that would trickle down to every person that is connected with CrossPoint. We want to see and experience you in greater, more magnificent ways. Speak to us in the night watches. Talk to us. Give us dreams. May our scripture readings come alive with relational capital with you. Guide us home now as we sleep in the afternoon and get us fit for a work week next week, we pray, Jesus, in your name. Amen. All right. You are dismissed again. Thank you, Carrie. All right.